Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the cool weather is holding out a little longer. I mean, another week or so. It's crazy. We're waking up in the mornings with high 50s, but still in the 50s for August. This is crazy. We've had hardly any real significant summer so far, which is not normal here in the Ozarks. I mean, it's very common to have multiple triple-digit heat days here in the Ozarks, so I'm not complaining. Wish we could get some more rain. They're supposed to next week, is what they're saying. Next week, Monday through Thursday, looks like some pretty good chances for rain. We desperately need it. It's getting really dry and dusty, but boy, it's the temperature. Can't complain about that. Speaking of the temperature of things, there's a lot of things that the temperature is heating up for. This thing in Russia, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I'll admit, I've even said it, how Ukraine looks like that they're, miserably losing the war, how they're not able to sustain themselves to put up much of a fight, and they have invaded Russia. Now, I'm not so dumb and naive to think that they've done it on their own. They've most certainly have had help from NATO, not just with the weapons that they're using, not just with the direction, but I mean, it's quite possible, and there's even been some strong evidence to show that there's been NATO troops wearing Ukrainian uniforms over there. So, I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that any of us can prove that, but I think it's a pretty good, we're pretty confident in that, let's say. But they have invaded Russia, and this region is not that far away from Moscow. So it's close enough within striking distance, if they're able to control that region, to actually make some direct strikes into Russia. And the word on the street is that they've taken out an entire battalion of Russian troops. They've captured 50 to 100 guys and destroyed a lot of stuff, a lot of, Russian weapons in that area. This is pretty serious in the sense that, Russia could react quite strongly, and while they have a lot of stuff, okay, I mean they're supplying Iran with stuff, they're sending their weapons all over the world while they're still fighting a very long, drawn out war with Ukraine. And on the flip side, the United States is worried about sending too much more to Ukraine because we're running out. And in Russia, they've stockpiled and they're building like crazy. So they have a lot, but my goodness. I mean, is Ukraine in risk of seeing a nuclear weapon, even a small tactical nuke, being used on them? Yeah, I think so. Now the question is because at the same time, obviously what's going on with Israel and Iran is happening, and Russia is strongly supporting Iran. They've been sending all kinds of missile systems, top-of-the-line missile systems down to Iran, and they have just yesterday reiterated their support and their alliance with Iran. So I think the question is Russia going to strongly retaliate against Ukraine and NATO, or are they going to use this opportunity with Iran to retaliate against the West? Or are they, trying to rein Iran back in because they don't want Iran to lose and potentially hurt a major partner with them in the whole BRICS, because Iran is a major part of the BRICS conglomerate. So there's just a lot of stuff going on, and I guess it's hard to figure out exactly what's going on and what they're planning on doing. But the point is that it's all getting worse, right? And is World War III around the corner? Yeah, I still think so. It's probably going to end up being in a way that many of us may not have expected. But the bottom line is that you've got the West versus the East. You've got BRICS versus G7. However you want to splice it. And BRICS is rising up and becoming quite a powerful, I'm not saying they're more powerful, but they're becoming a rapidly powerful unit on this planet, whether it comes to financial, war building capabilities, all of that. And the West sees that. The United States, Germany, Great Britain, Australia, they all see that. And they see that their time is coming to an end if they don't stop this. And from an economic and a military standpoint, they have to take action. And obviously the sanctions from the US dollar are not working because Russia's doing better now than they were before the sanctions. So a war is the most likely candidate to take this on. And so I guess the question is where it's going to start. Is it Iran and Israel? Is it Russia, Ukraine? Is it somewhere else? But it does look like it's going to be happening. It's just a wait and see. You know, it's all in they got to follow a script, folks. Remember that. So even though you and I think this thing should have already happened or maybe will or won't happen, they're following a script. And when it gets to the part where the actual war starts, then that's when it'll happen. So don't worry, the script will tell. In other news, Japan is most likely going to have a pretty major earthquake. That's what they've announced. They've been warning their people. Their prime minister was planning on taking a trip, and he canceled it because they're expecting potentially an 8 to 9 earthquake in the next coming days. It could be very significantly damaging, especially considering what they've been having a problem with their economy. And then if they went through a major earthquake like that, there's already been rumors that several banks in Japan are on the verge of collapsing, and that Japan has been throwing a bunch of its money into the system just to try to keep everything afloat. If there was a major earthquake, it could be devastating for their economy. At the same time, it's quite possible that a major earthquake could happen in California. There's been swarms of earthquakes in California, and I know California gets earthquakes all the time. I get it, but it's been higher than normal, including several 5 to 6 level earthquakes in the recent days. So it's quite possible that California could have a major earthquake in the recent time, in the next days or weeks ahead. So when you add that to the stuff going on with the war and then all of the other stuff, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and we're living in a crazy time, which is why we have to keep getting ready. That's why we have to keep focused on our goal, which isn't consuming all of the content necessarily. It's actually getting ourselves ready, getting ourselves up and going so that when these things happen, it doesn't set us back that much. I mean, that's the big thing. We want to not be so tethered to the system that when the system fails, we are able to sustain ourselves. And so that's part of the prepping. The prepping, for the most part, putting away food and stuff like that, that's the immediate emergency. But the self-sufficiency is that long-term stuff. That's where you're able to sustain yourself. You're able to produce your own food. You don't just have water that's stored. You have a source to actually get more water. You're able to take care of things around the house, manufacture things, fix things, produce your own fuel, electricity, whatever it is. These are the things that we really have to start wrapping our heads around it. And I know that's hard for a lot of people because so many people are so separated from that. I'm not making fun of anyone, but oh well, I'm a city guy. I've lived in the city my whole life. I've never had to do that kind of stuff. It's go work at the bank, go work at the accounting firm, the law office, whatever it is, the factory. And they've never grown anything. They've never had to be in any way self-sufficient. They've never had to necessarily do for themselves. They've always hired someone else to do it, or they've always had government to pick it up. And it's not that I'm criticizing that lifestyle. It's just that in this current situation, that lifestyle is not the one to have. You want to have a lifestyle where you can have very much total control as much as possible over your life, over your food production, over where your water comes from, your medicine comes from, all that kind of stuff. because eventually those systems are all going to fail. We know that through reading scripture. They're going to fail. And if you are dependent on them, if you're dependent solely on the grocery store, the restaurants, and that kind of stuff for your food, when they fail, well, then you're going to get really hungry, right? When your water is dependent upon what comes through the pipes that's supplied by the local city or the county, and it stops coming through the pipes, then what are you going to do? This idea of self-sufficiency is not some new-fangled idea. It's the way humans have always been. Actually, the dependent city, type lifestyle is the new lifestyle. That's the new lifestyle. We have to get back to the old ways. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds corny, but really we do. We have to get to a place to where even if we're not producing everything we need, and doing everything perfect, we're at least able to survive over what we're producing. And that's the big goal, is to get to that point, at least to survival. And then if you can, push it further and be able to actually thrive off of what you're producing, off of what you're doing for yourself. This is going to come in handy, folks. There's all kinds of problems happening. That we're watching the world go through a collapse phase. This may be the final end one, or it could just be something that's just part of the cycle. Either way, we are watching it happen. And your best bet to stay away from that is to continually prepare, get yourself ready for it. Because, it's here. It's here. What are you going to do other than just gear up and get ready? Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.